Once upon a time, Meghan Markle's life felt like something straight out of a blockbuster. Seriously, this California girl made it from Hollywood soundstages to Buckingham Palace. An actress turned duchess? That's headline gold. She strolled into centuries of royal tradition wearing not just heels, but ambition, sparkle, and enough buzz to light up the tabloids. But you know what they say about fairy tales? Sometimes they end in a twist no one saw coming.
Yeah, nobody set out to destroy you. You destroyed yourselves in this country with your ludicrous, hypocritical behaviour. The truth be told, what she just did is complete and utter garbage.
At first, Meghan was like a breath of fresh air in the musty halls of the monarchy. People leaned in. She was American, glamorous, and charming in a way the royals hadn't seen before. The media couldn't get enough. Every smile, wave, and outfit became a moment. But while she dazzled the cameras, something behind the scenes was clearly cracking. Because Meghan didn't just want to join the royal family. No, she wanted to transform it. And when she tried to rebrand centuries-old tradition in her own image, the palace wasn't having it. That's when the critics began sharpening their claws. Enter Piers Morgan and Tom Bower, the two men who made it their mission to drag every layer of Meghan's public persona through the mud. And honey, they did it with no filter.
I think Diana, well, I know, we all know, Diana would be shocked that we're sitting here today discussing her son as an outright liar.
One day she's smiling on the royal balcony, and the next, boom, she's on Netflix spilling the royal tea. Then came the podcast, the children's book, skincare, and yes, jam jars. Jars from a duchess to a DIY influencer overnight. That's the glow down nobody saw coming. Her brand, once pitched as classy and conscious, launched with overpriced fruit spreads and vague wellness tips. People weren't impressed. They were confused. Did she really go from royal to jam seller? One British tabloid snarked. Even Tom Bower didn't hold back. He called her a one-trick pony, milking the royal name before tossing it aside like last season's handbag.
It's one long rendition of all their greatest whinges and a load of self-congratulatory nonsense. Harry and Meghan sold their royal souls to become reality TV stars.
But what stung even more? He wasn't alone in that opinion. Word from inside the palace? Staff were actually relieved when Meghan and Harry left. Relieved. That's not just a cold shoulder, that's a door slam. Royal duties started to feel more like service again, not stage-managed PR shows. Meghan, it seemed, wanted all the sparkle but none of the stiffness. And Piers Morgan, he went for the jugular. He claimed Meghan was addicted to victimhood, always painting herself as wronged, mistreated, misunderstood, all while raking in the millions. She doesn't want privacy, he snapped. She wants control. And honestly, that hit a nerve. People were starting to see it too. Her Spotify deal fell apart, her podcast archetypes, more like a monologue than meaningful conversation. Meghan spoke more about herself than her guests. One episode even had listeners asking, wait, who was the guest again? Spotify eventually pulled the plug. No drama, just business. Behind the scenes, more red flags were waving. Meghan's need for control over image, projects, people was rubbing insiders the wrong way. Stories started leaking. She clashed with royal staff. She demanded final photo approval for a Vogue shoot. She micromanaged collaborators. Slowly but surely, the media narrative shifted. No longer the misunderstood princess, she was being labeled a controlling diva. And then there was Catherine, the perfect royal contrast. Graceful, elegant, silent. She didn't need to speak to win headlines. She just showed up, did her job, and let her actions speak louder than any tabloid drama. The more Meghan shouted for attention, the more regal Catherine looked in her calm. And when even Hollywood started pulling away, that's when things got really messy. Meghan had built her entire post-royal image around relevance, red carpets, and recognition. But suddenly, no more invites, no more clapping A-listers. It was a quiet fade out, the kind that cuts deeper than public scandal. This wasn't cancel culture, it was ghosting. Hollywood style. Every project started to flop. The Netflix documentary, glossy but shallow, full of tears but also full of holes. Viewers left feeling manipulated, not moved. And to Archetypes, that podcast of hers, listeners could see the pattern. Meghan invited powerful women to share their stories, only to spin the conversation back to herself. Every single time. When Spotify finally axed the show after just one season, it wasn't a shock, it was a sigh of relief. The repetition, the same old misunderstood Duchess tale, it was starting to bore even her fans. People wanted substance. Meghan was giving them stylized sob stories instead. Meanwhile, back in the UK, the royal family didn't just survive without her, they thrived. King Charles focused on legacy. Prince William took on duties with quiet confidence. And Catherine, she didn't need a brand. She was the brand. No jam jars required. Meghan was trying to sell us ever oils and curated quotes. Catherine just showed up at the Royal Ascot and still made headlines, even when she wasn't there. But Meghan? She had to fight just to stay in the headlines. No camera crew, no controversy. Then, poof, she vanished from the conversation. The woman who once dominated global attention now needed curated Instagram shots just to stay relevant. And then came the heartbreak no brand can cover up. Her father, Thomas Markle, the same man who raised her, worked lighting on TV sets so she could chase her dreams. The man who poured everything into her suffered a stroke. And what did Meghan do? Nothing. Reports say she hasn't even called. The silence? Deafening. Critics didn't hold back. How can a woman preach compassion to the world while ghosting the man who gave her everything? And it wasn't just critics. Even inside palace walls, the whispers grew louder. It's been said that Queen Elizabeth herself didn't want Meghan at Prince Philip's funeral, not because of bad blood, but because she knew what would happen. Meghan's presence wouldn't just attend the funeral, it would hijack it. Every camera would swing her way. Every headline would be about her. And in the royal world, that's the cardinal sin. It's not the scandal, it's the distraction. The real issue here isn't the tabloids, it's not even the monarchy. Meghan's biggest obstacle might just be Meghan. Over and over, she makes grand entrances, only to ghost her own projects. A podcast, a book, a business, a documentary, a jam line, all launched with a bang and all fading with a whimper. The pattern's impossible to ignore. Big promises, big attention, but no staying power. You can only play the misunderstood icon card so many times before people stop listening. The victim of the press story wore thin. Even her supporters, those who once fought tooth and nail for her, are quietly stepping back. But not with outrage, but with exhaustion. Some call it drama fatigue, others just call it waking up. The always-on tears, the constantly curated image of someone on the verge of a nervous breakdown, it's all blending into a blur. People aren't moved anymore, they're rolling their eyes. And then there's Prince Harry. Once the cheeky, lovable rebel of the royal family, he now looks like a man stuck in someone else's script. His charm, the realness that once made him the world's favorite royal, is gone, replaced by stiff PR smiles and awkward solo appearances. Old friends have drifted, his UK allies have gone quiet, and every time he stands in front of a camera now, he looks like a man divided between two lives and fully belonging to neither. The Sussex brand, let's be real, it's not a brand anymore. It's a cautionary tale. What started as a bold, rebellious empire is crumbling, not with a crash, but with a long, awkward fade. In Hollywood, the phone stopped ringing. In Britain, the press moved on. Meghan and Harry are no longer the glamorous power couple. They're a fading headline. And Meghan's latest attempt to claw her way back into relevance? A lifestyle brand called, as ever, a lot of fluff, a lot of filters, flowery product blurbs, and outrageously overpriced items. Critics had a field day. One called it a vanity project disguised as a brand. And the worst part? The numbers don't lie. The sales aren't booming. The buzz isn't there. But here's the real sting. It's not about skincare or jam jars. It's about purpose. Meghan left the royal family claiming she wanted freedom, independence, peace. But what did she trade it for? A never-ending chase for attention. And that freedom she craved, it's looking more like isolation now. She's not just distant from the palace, she's disconnected from reality, from her fans, from the image she once sold to the world. The woman who walked away from the most powerful family on earth didn't start a revolution. She launched a rebrand and hoped people would still care. But with every failed project, every exaggerated headline, it's becoming clearer. This isn't a new beginning, it's the final chapter. Meghan's not the voice of a movement anymore, she's the echo of a moment that's passed. What's left? A woman with a fractured public image, a string of ghosted ventures, and the sinking realization that the world has moved on. The palace, they're focused on duty. The press, on to the next story. Her peers, nowhere to be found. Meghan chased influence, but now she's stuck in a loop of diminishing returns. This isn't a scandal. It's not even a dramatic downfall. It's something worse. It's a slow, silent fade. Meghan Markle once wanted to be legendary, but legends don't beg for attention, they earn it. And right now, the world is no longer watching.